she had a cottage industry in her home. Okay, she makes clothes. She sells clothes. She buys the materials and she puts it together with her own hands and she sells it and she makes a profit. Right? This is no slacker. Okay. She considers a field. She's into real estate. She's got her hands in different things. She considers a field and buys it. The merchants know her when they see her coming. It says that she extends her hands to the poor and stretches out her hands to the needy. She's a philanthropist in the community. It says that her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. Here, he's identified, his claim to fame, in essence, is being her husband. The only reason he's being shown honor, okay, because his wife is so honorable. She is the wind beneath his wings. Her husband sits in the gates among the elders. He's a leader in the community. And so is she. And so is she. She absolutely is. But she's doing it out of her home. She's absolutely doing it out of her home. And that's something the world says is completely devalued. The moment you got a woman at home, you got someone everybody makes fun of. Right? Every message is, oh, you're just, you're wasting your life. Have you heard that you're wasting your life? As if making it in a career in the world is what God honors and esteems. Like, who are you living for? You're wasting your life, right? But this woman shows us a picture of what it can be to be a homemaker. To be a homemaker that is godly. And it is a grand picture. It is not small in scope or impact. Right? 1 Timothy 5:14. I counsel younger widows to marry, to have children, to manage their homes, and to give the enemy no opportunity for slander. And give the enemy no opportunity for slander. It says to manage her homes. The Greek word here is oikodespoteto. Oiko being home, despoteto, the despot, the ruler, okay, the manager, the one in charge of the home. Titus 2:4-5. Then they can train the younger women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home. Titus 2:4-5. To be busy at home. It's instead of oikodespoteto this time, it's oiko worker. Okay? To be busy at home, to be active at home, to be engaged in their home. And it's interesting, the verse is very similar. It says to be subject to their husbands so that no one will malign the word of God. 1 Timothy, and to give the enemy no opportunity to slander. Titus, so that no one will malign the word of God. You think it's important? I think it's important. Matter of fact, I think it's fundamental for the home to run properly, for the household to run properly, to be an example in the community, to be an example in the community of what an exemplary family looks like. And her part in it is pivotal. It's absolutely pivotal. And without it, you're going to have opportunity for the enemy to slander, and you're going to have people maligning the word of God. When they drag us down to their level, they make us look like they look. Right? It's like the greatest weapon that America has to fight any of these developing nations like China and so forth is not our missiles, it's McDonald's. Bring them down to our level, right? Bring them down to our level. We don't need to stoop down to the level of the world and live the way that they tell us according to the pattern of the world, right? We're not going to be maligned. We're not going to give the enemy opportunity to slander. You know, I remember my wife. I used to travel a lot for work, and I remember she went away for a week once. I think I shared this with you guys. And I watched the kids, and I was, Mr. Mom for that week. And it was the hardest thing ever. I realized at that point she's busier than I am. You know, I've got this executive vice president thing flying all over the globe and everything, right? She's busier than I am. She's got a harder job than I do. When I had to actually walk a mile in her shoes, it's a big deal to be a mom. It really is. To be a mother at home. It is super valuable. So husbands, you need to praise your wives like that Proverbs 31 guy that stands up and says, many women have done awesome, but you've done better than all of them, because they won't hear that from anyone else. The world won't value what our wives do at home. They need to hear it from us. Thankless little tasks. Laundry doesn't just happen. There are no laundry gnomes that get up and do this at night when we go to sleep. Okay? We need to thank our wives dearly for taking care of us. Because I know what it's like. If Cindy's not feeling good or something like that, our home could self-destruct. We could be buried in our own laundry and dishes, right? And that's not to say that men don't help in the home. Not at all. You do exactly what she tells you. She tells you to vacuum, you should say how high. Okay. All right, I want to talk a little bit now about financial management of the home while we're on this topic of provision and stewardship.
I'll just say that it is such a big help. Like financial helps with, it helps a lot with things in the home, and it helps bear the burden because sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. And for a woman, that home is a part of you. So when it's a disaster, to have someone strong come in and help out, wash the floor, or whatever, it's a really hard job. It helps bear the burden and get you out from under that depression or whatever.
All right, and we're probably going to end with this one tonight, just because we'll pick up on these other ones because it's got a little late. But financial management of the home. The husband is responsible to God for provision in his home. We'll talk about that. It means physical needs are met, and it means too that family is either able to give generously now, or they're on the path to being able to give generously. Okay, that's God's heart for us. It's not that we'll just provide for needs, but that we'll be able to give. How does Dave Ramsey say to give like no one? Right? Something like that. He wants us to be able to give. He wants us to be on a path to be able to give generously. And so the man is responsible that the income for the home is more than the expenses. That's what we call the bottom line, right? When your expenses are bigger than your income, you have a loss. When your expenses are less than your income, you have a profit. That's the bottom line. Men are responsible for that bottom line. It's two components, income, expenses, okay? That is his responsibility, not to you, but to God, for provision in his home. Now, the wife can affect the income in the home dramatically. And in lots of ways. I'll just give some examples. One, if she makes him feel successful, just in his emotion, he is much more likely to be successful. Okay? A man that feels like he is a loser is likely to live that out in the workplace. All right? A man that feels built up and successful and has a cheerleader, someone in his corner, his biggest fan at home, he's much more likely to be successful in the workplace. Right? Don't underestimate that. That's huge. Two, she can encourage him to take a risk he needs to take. It may be starting a new business or moving to a new location or position and so forth. Okay? You can give him the freedom to take risks. Income often is a result, or a change in income is often a result of taking risk. Right? You started a business it was a self-employed thing. You had to take a risk. When you get in your husband's corner, allow him to take risks. Not stupid things, right? But allow him to take risks. That can directly lead to an increase in income. Right? You can't. 3, she can provide him a safe place in their home where he can recharge, and then he'll be more effective in his job. I kid you not. If your husband's able to recharge, okay, he will be more refreshed. He'll be better. He'll be sharper. He'll make better decisions. He'll have more energy when he goes to the workplace. Okay? And you play a huge part of it. You play a huge part of it. Just chemically, what happens is when a man goes into his nothing box, or into his cave, or into his vegetative state, all right, he's rebuilding testosterone. Chemically, that's what's going on. He's rebuilding testosterone. And that testosterone is what allows him to be aggressive, to take risks, to make decisions, to do the things he needs to do to be successful in the workplace. Okay? So when you give him the opportunity to rebuild and recharge, it is actually physically making him more likely to succeed. Okay. Number 4, like we looked at in the Proverbs 31 lady, she had a cottage industry. Okay, cottage industry is when people do stuff at home and sell it to the market. She had one going on at her home. She was a clothier. Right? She worked in the textile, and that brought profit into their family. And there may be ways that that you can find ways. I mean, goodness gracious, the internet opens up so many opportunities itself for market channels to market and access to markets all over the world, right? And you could buy and sell on Craigslist, right? And you can buy low, sell high. Anything you can do that with can generate income for the family. And there's many things. If you're willing to be creative, there's many things you can do even from the home, like the lady in Proverbs 31. Now, number 5, there's times when a woman just goes out and gets a job. It happens. Okay? There's times when a man is infirmed and he can't. And sometimes you're just forced into those situations. Right? But I will say this, although that's completely legitimate, it's very rare that you can do that without, one, sacrificing often some of your femininity. Okay? Because the attitudes and so forth required to succeed in the workplace are often masculine attitudes and characteristics. And 2, it's hard to do that without suffering at home, without having the home suffer, which will will reduce your husband's ability to produce income potentially. Okay? So just you weigh those things in, but that's another way. But I recommend 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you do 1 through 4, it also it builds that emotional relationship with your husband, all those other areas, and so you get a strengthened relationship as well. It's kind of like a 2-for-1 coupon, right? It's a byproduct of helping him in those ways.
Hey Israel, I'm so sorry. Like I went 1, 2, 3, and then went to 5, so 4 total left.
Oh, 4 is just making money at home.